Hello everyone, it's your friend, your boy, Jet Black One Only here with another exciting video. In this video, I'm going to be going over an app I created using Google AI Studio called the Infinite Book of Meaning. Every page a mystery, interpreted by AI. This book has a lot of pages. If you can read this figure at the bottom, written in scientific notation, you understand that this is a very lengthy text. Let's describe how it works. Welcome to the Infinite Book of Meaning. This book offers two distinct ways to explore its procedurally generated pages: Curated Mode and Decode Nonsense Mode. Page addresses, or page numbers, are used in order to identify different pages. When you go to a page with a specific page number or page address, it will always have the same contents. It essentially acts as a seed for a deterministic algorithm to create 450 characters from a select set. That set includes all 26 letters of the alphabet, a space, a period, and the numbers 0 through 9. This text is structured using rules like weighted character selection for common English letters, vowel consonant balancing, QU pairing, basic capitalization and sentence structuring, and repetition avoidance. Curated mode is the default mode, and it is for finding pages that are inherently meaningful. After procedural generation, the page's text is sent to Google's Gemini AI. Gemini checks if it forms coherent, grammatically plausible English. It then only displays the page if Gemini deems the page to actually be meaningful. If a page is not meaningful, the book automatically tries up to 10 consecutive pages, and if none are found, it pauses. It then logs all the failed sequences. And it also, of course, would log successful sequences too, labeling them accordingly. Decode nonsense mode is, in my opinion, the more interesting mode because you're going to be doing significantly less skipping of pages. So this mode has no initial AI validation. So when you go to a page, you get to see the raw, procedurally generated content immediately. You then have an interpret this page button that will then send the text to Gemini. Gemini is then prompted to creatively interpret the potentially nonsensical text and provide a plausible meaning or narrative. This interpretation is then displayed below the raw content. The goal is to make every page potentially meaningful through AI-assisted interpretation. It's like finding meaning in clouds or abstract art. Pages are logged when their raw content is first viewed, labeled as viewed raw. If you interpret a page, the log entry is updated to interpreted. And logs can be imported and exported, allowing you to keep track of what pages you've looked at and what failures you've had and successes you've had and which you've seen as raw or interpreted. Now that we've gone over how it works, this particular entry of nonsense is on page 1225, 1997, which is also the date of Christmas, the year I was born. If you look at this, you see a bunch of gobbledygook, I'm sure. That's how I interpret it, at least. But believe it or not, the AI interpretation for this is quite wild, or at least one of the AI interpretations. Because keep in mind, the AI can interpret the same raw generated text differently each time. So while the book may be largely filled with nonsense like this that's procedurally generated, I mean, keep in mind just how massive this book also, just due to statistics, contains every text that has been or will be written within these restrictions. You know, the story of your birth is likely somewhere within these pages, which I find immensely fascinating. But even when you find stuff like this, the AI mode is able to give it meaning. So you never feel like you've stumbled upon a page that is a waste of your time because you can always get something out of it. But let's transition real quick to looking at the AI interpretation or a snapshot of the AI interpretation of this particular page. So here we're looking at the snapshot for the AI interpretation of this page. I took this snapshot a little bit ago. So let's read over this deciphered interpretation. The transmission opens with system identification and initial access protocols. It quickly moves through a series of status checks and reporting sequences, referencing various internal codes, network states, and specific event triggers, possibly related to gate or space operations. The system logs detailed data handling processes and interactions with perceived entities or states, noting technical procedures, potential errors, and even observing a subtle shift or departure. Himself is away fades a day. Amidst the technical entries, moments of processing uncertainty surface. I do not know it. It goes yet? The log continues with references to system guidelines, acknowledgments, configuration checks, and attempts to initiate processes. A key entry notes the interaction or influence between specific entities. Time sensor follows potent B. The system confirms its operational permissions, all allowed me, and concludes with a summary or final status report, referencing a comprehensive state or entity, possibly all in one, or an AI overlord, and concluding with identification codes. So I find this interpretation to be very fascinating because I've read several of these and they are much more detailed. I'm just showing you like a snapshot of part of the interpretation, but when it goes through, it breaks down the individual elements of the nonsense that we were just looking at and decodes words as being possible misspellings, being acronyms, being translations from other languages, being fragments of words where you can then interpret what the rest of the word is supposed to be. It does a great job of taking things that appear to us as just complete nothing and shaping them into these interesting interpretations. Now, not all of the interpretations are particularly interesting. I've noticed that often it will assume that it's looking at the log of like a military or intelligence operation. And I think the reason why it does that is because it sees it as like a code, and it's like, well, who would be using such a complex code to refer to things? And it'll see stuff that resembles coordinates, and then it starts to, make assumptions in order to decipher, and those assumptions often lead it to being like it's some military operation talking about, equipment and agents and things of that nature. So I've read several interpretations along those lines. And I've even read other interpretations that imply the presence of AI and looking at like the logs of some confused AI system. But this one was fascinating because it interpreted as logs from an AI that's in space and interacting with some kind of unknown entity. And I don't know, it was just a very like compelling narrative. And I find this interesting in large part because this project that I created today isn't the only such project like this. There is a website called the Library of Babel that serves a very similar purpose, but it doesn't have any of these AI features. You can't use AI to skip past meaningless pages or use AI to find meaning where you normally wouldn't find any meaning. And there are entire communities that exist to scroll through the Library of Babel website in search of meaning, trying to like find it. So I wanted to make a tool that would make it easier to find meaning, not just through skipping past meaningless pages, but to find meaning by interpreting meaning from every page so that every page can have a meaning. This is not currently publicly available, so you can't just jump to a URL and start using this today, but I can make more videos covering this. And if that's something that you'd be interested in, let me know in the comment section below what pages you would like to see us explore next. And thank you for watching. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black One Only, logging out. Peace, guys. chicken a bow.